Welcome to another episode of the Observe Day podcast, where we celebrate meaningful observances that connect deeply to our daily lives. September is Sleeptember, a month dedicated to highlighting the importance of healthy sleep and how it shapes our overall well-being. Today, I'm joined by Raj Khedun, a transformational coach from London with a powerful mission to help 800 million people overcome insomnia. Raj is the creator of the groundbreaking 3:3 Insomnia Hack, a simple yet powerful method that helps people fall asleep in just 30 to 90 seconds without medication, doctors, or side effects. Beyond sleep, Raj has spent over 15 years guiding people in well-being, relationships, stress management, and unlocking their fullest potential. In this conversation, we'll dive into why sleep is far more than the rest. It's the foundation of creativity, focus, and health, and even relationship. If you ever tossed and turned at 3 a.m., you want to lean into this episode. Welcome to the podcast, Raj.
Thank you for having me, Wisdom. I'm excited to um, see how this one unfolds. So thanks
Yeah.
again.
Raj, September is all about raising awareness around the power of sleep.
Why is sleep such a critical pillar for overall well-being? Absolutely.
Mm.
So the reason is because of energy. Energy. Like, for example, if you compromise your energy, you compromise your quality of life. So when you sleep properly, you're able to fully recover, recharge your batteries, so to speak, physiologically, and you're able to wake up with maximum, energy, emotional energy as well in terms of your relationships with other people. Also, your ability to interact in the world. It's very important that you have enough energy. Otherwise, you could have an accident. We hear people who almost get hit by cars because their mental awareness wasn't at its peak because they didn't sleep properly. So
Yeah.
all kinds of incidents and accidents can happen if you don't have enough energy. So that's why sleep is so critically important, especially
You,
nowadays.
yeah, you just mentioned some of the impacts of poor sleep. I love for us to like zoom in because a lot of persons underestimate the impact of poor sleep. From your experience, what are some of the hidden costs from mental, emotional, financial, or for chronic insomnia or sleep deprivation?
Yeah, I mean, just to give you an example, in the UK alone, we lose I think the figure's around £50 billion a year to lost revenues because of lack of sleep. That's, financial cost is there in America. It's around $220 billion a year,
Wow.
which is huge. Altogether, 800 billion people. I was talking to a doctor in the NHS a few days ago, and they said it's not actually 800 billion; it's closer to a billion. So we're talking
Wow.
about 10%. Yeah, talking about 10% of the world's population suffering from sleeping disorders and insomnia. Um, as well as financial cost, which I just outlined, the cost on health in terms of not being able to fully enjoy your day, not being able to fully be emotionally aware and present for your loved ones, for your husband, for your wife, for your parents, is becomes a problem. Quality of life is compromised,
Yeah.
and so many other areas. In terms of health, yeah, I mean, there's so many areas that are affected all at once. There's a lot of mysteriousness around the subject of sleep, which is known to the yoga traditions, but to a lot of Western scientists, they still can't tell you exactly why you sleep. So it's a it's a fantastic topic.
I say sooner or later they'll find that.
Well, I can
But-
tell you if you want to know the deep metaphysical reason why we sleep. Shall I
Okay,
share that with you? Yeah.
please do.
Okay. Okay. So the truth of our being is a lot more complex than you think. If you're a strong Christian, you may have delved into a bit more about the fabric of where energy comes from. Where does consciousness, of which we all are part, where does it come from? And the reason we can't answer that is because we haven't practiced things like yoga for long enough to understand the true nature of our being. Um, so in Vedanta, which is the root of yoga, you'd be surprised that Jesus is actually very close to India. because India, the home of yoga, recognizes all great saints and avatars to have understood the ability to transcend sleep, the ability to go beyond the need for sleep. So if you want to understand about the energy centers, kundalini chakras, and so on, you'll understand that sleep is a way for you to withdraw your energy into your spine. And in your spine, you have energy centers. It says this in Kabbalah, says this in Christianity, says the same thing in Hinduism and Buddhism, same thing. So all human beings have a rest and they're able to switch off the life energy from the body and the senses, turn it into the spine, get rejuvenated by higher powers in the subconscious and superconscious minds. And then when they wake up, they're usually regenerated and they can go about their day again. So
Yeah,
it's almost like Father or God says, look, my child, you need a rest, relax, come to me, I'll charge you up, and then you can go back out again. Like this.
yeah. Wow. I like that. Before we dive deeper, I'd love to invite you to join the Observe Day newsletter. Every week, I send you highlights of upcoming observances, creative ways to celebrate, and behind the scenes extras from the shows. It's the perfect way to stay inspired and never miss a meaningful moment. Sign up today at observeday.com/join. That is observeday.com/join. Now, let's get back to the conversation. Analogy. uh, you created the 3-3 Insomnia Hack, a natural way to fall asleep in under 2 minutes. Can you share how this method works and what inspired you to develop it?
I have to tell you, Wisdom, a little bit about the Genesis backstory. Is that okay?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So basically, the very underpinning of what we call air, yeah, in school, you're taught that it's just oxygen, 21%, hydrogen, nitrogen, and so on. But that doesn't mean much to you. Doesn't mean much to any human being just to know that. What's the point? 21% oxygen. Okay, do I walk around with 21% oxygen in my brain for the rest of my life? No, it doesn't mean anything to you. What's most fascinating is to know what this air is actually made of. This air, this all around us.
Yeah.
What's it actually made of? There's three key components, which are, in my mind, they're critical to know. Better to know than not know. So it's light, electricity, and magnetism. Light, electricity, and magnetism. You're not
Like,
just breathing air. You're not just breathing air. It's not just air. There's far more in this than meets. Well, you can't see it with your eyes, but you can feel it with your intuition and how if you could channel it into your brain, which I do, then yes, you can understand a lot more about what this is. Only then will you understand how it works. The 3-3 metaverse breath method, the Insomnia Hack. You'll only understand how it works when you realize that this air around us is not just simply air. It's highly intelligent. It's super abundant. It's with us 24/7, 365. So to answer your question now, with this light, electricity, and magnetism, we pull it into the brain, okay, through a specific breathing sequence. We pull it into the brain. And when we do that, we release all kinds of hormones in the brain, which are already there. Endorphins, which relieve pain and inflammation. Dopamine, serotonin, which are feel good, happy hormones. Anandamide, which a lot of people have never heard of. Anandamide means bliss. Ananda comes from the Sanskrit word bliss. Bliss, basically happiness, joy. So, wisdom, why would a human being have anandamide, a bliss molecule in their brain, if they were not designed to be happy?
yeah,
Do you get it? So, this tells us the human being intrinsic nature is to be happy,
yeah,
right? Most people, because they'll never learn in their lifetime what anandamide is or how to access it, or even that they had the birthright to find it, most people live and die and they have no idea
yeah.
about how.
This method we're talking about, the 3-3 Insomnia Hack. Is it something? Is it a method that everyone, kids, pregnant moms, people with anxiety can, adopt and benefit from?
Yes, in most cases, yes. There's very few contraindications, but we can get into that in a moment. But it basically helps people as young as 5 to people as up to 85. That's what we've tested so far.
Oh,
Working very well.
wow, that's a lot of data to support the method. What?
Absolutely. Yeah. Organizations such as the NHS, the National Health Service here in the UK, Oracle, the software company, Philips, the electronics company, Novartis, the medical company. A lot of them have tried it. They love it. They've given us glowing feedback and testimonials. It's on the website. You can have a look there. You can read it and watch the
Yeah.
videos. Yeah.
While I was going through your profile on Podmatch, I saw your mission is to help 800 million people overcome insomnia. That is massive. I guess from the conversation we just had today, that mission has moved from 800 million to a billion people because, the data has changed.
I know it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? But
Yeah.
the World Health Organization, they're the ones who state 800 million. But I've spoken to doctors who are dealing with all types of sleeping disorders, and they said, Raj, it's not 800 million. It's more closer to a billion because
Yeah.
there's a lot of people undiagnosed as well.
How do you envision scaling this movement globally?
Well, it's tied into a renaissance of knowledge and education massively. This re-education has to happen. When people ask us, what you're thinking is so beyond the normal kind of scope of things, and I say, you could say that, but if you were taught the right thing at the beginning of life, like children, you would have the correct roadmap and paradigm to allow you to fulfill these types of goals. But because we're given the wrong information, because of, whether you want to call it the Rockefeller model or wage slave 9 to 5 mentality, um, you don't get to understand what your life is really based on. They're not going to teach you that, because if they do, you're going to become powerful, and they don't want you to become powerful. They'd rather keep you subservient to a system that has you, you know, a little bit of income, a mortgage, right? Marriage troubles, not understanding how to raise kids, and then you die. You don't enjoy.
Yeah.
You don't enjoy the maximum of what life has to give you. You don't. It's not
Well,
geared for that.
one of the things I noticed about your story is that, beyond before sleep, beyond sleep, your journey includes, philosophy, yoga, martial arts, and even a decade in monk mode. And so for me, the question is, how have these experiences shaped your approach to healing, transformation, sleep, and matters like this?
That's a very good question, Wisdom. You've done your homework. I'm glad to see that. So basically, when I was a child, I was 3 years old, and my mother takes me to the kindergarten, where we get enrolled and have a look at the playgrounds and classrooms and everything. I was in the library. We end up in the library, and I take off 2 books off the bookshelf. Wisdom, 2 books. One was about dinosaurs, and one was about planets. Dinosaurs, planets. If you can imagine that, a young kid picks up these 2 books, and for whatever reason, made such a big impact on my mind. I can remember it as if it was yesterday. Right, Thomas the Tank Engine, Mr. Happy, Mr. Sad books. I didn't touch that, but for whatever reason, I became obsessed with these themes, dinosaurs and planets. So
Yeah.
these themes guided me more than my education did, believe it or not. And I had to find out what was so compelling about these subjects. So I combined, dinosaurs and evolution, animal evolution, and then look at human evolution. How does a human being evolve their brain? How do they expand their mind? How do they make the most of themselves? If we're made in the image of God, which I'm sure you do believe because
Yeah.
your name is Wisdom, yeah, you're going to say, okay, I've been given this brain, I've been given this human life. What would the creator like me to do with it? Right. So then we start to study evolution. We start to understand the brain. We start to understand how to open up the 90% of untapped potential in the brain and the
Yeah.
learning capabilities that we have, including memory, cognition, imagination, willpower, all these things we need to understand about a human being. Planets were about these energies in the solar system. We have all these beautiful planets. We have Jupiter, the king of planets, spinning at 47,000 kilometers per hour. Why would the biggest planet in the solar system, which can contain 1,300 planet Earths, be spinning so fast? What's the hurry?
Oh,
Right? You start to think, right?
yeah.
So you've got Saturn with the beautiful rings around it, also going very, very fast. You got Mercury, you got Venus, you got Mars, which is next to Earth, but it's an empty planet. If you go on YouTube, you can look it up. They got
Yeah.
NASA robots on Mars. Sky is red, ground is red, no water, no plants, no dinosaur bones of any kind at all. So you're wondering, why is there an empty planet there, just next to Earth? But Earth is full of life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that kind of hopefully gives you a bit of a kind of backstory
Yeah. Very insightful.
into how these interests, martial arts, health, physiology, has come together. Hopefully.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, for one of um finally, for those who want to learn the full method and also dive deeper into the amazing work you're doing, and the mission, where can they find your program and resources and also connect with you?
Sure. So the best place is the website link, the 33insomniahack.com, 33insomniahack.com. And on there, they'll find testimonials from, some of these large organizations that we work with, as well as independent psychiatric workers from all over the world. They'll find, videos. They'll find the course, the program there. It's about $97 at the moment on an introductory offer, so you can buy and download. And you can ask us questions on WhatsApp. WhatsApp and phone number, email is all there. And we're all on the usual social media handles as well.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Raj. I'll be sure to add all the relevant links in the description and the show notes so listeners can click and go directly to the site.
Excellent.
That's it for today's episode of the Observe Day podcast. Thank you for spending your time with us as we explore today's observance. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and share it with a friend who'd love to celebrate life's special days too. Don't forget to join the newsletter at observeday.com/join for more observance stories, tips, and updates. Until next time, keep finding meaning in every day.